Set at 7 p.m. Thanks for coming. This is a regular call meeting, September the 8th, 7 o'clock. All meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Jessica Sue, Jennifer Manuel, Diane Brinkley, Nicole Gabriel,
Kyle Curry.
All present accounted for. Public comment, Joe?
no sir.
Except me. I got a call on the way up over here. The electrical company that was putting in the tower is having another hearing in Austin. The landowners in San Jacinto County, the organization we work with, and contesting it coming close to the city of Cold Springs, will attend the meeting, and we've already gave them testimony, written testimony. So I asked Ms. McMurray to have them read that again if they need to hear before we think about it. So this is another meeting about the route. All right, no other comments. Motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Had a chance to look at the minutes for August the 4th.
Well, just today, we'll see from this one.
Is that a motion?
I made a motion. I second. I made the motion.
Second over here, and all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Bills get paid. I think you've got a couple of new ones there. One, I think it's deals with the sewer plant over and on grass, and we're getting closer to finding their own lawnmower and mowing their own grass.
Yeah. Okay. I make a motion to pay the bill.
I'll say.
Got any questions? How many? 4? Everybody?
Aye.
All right, carry it. Reports. Josh, you want to tell us about the wastewater treatment plant?
So the average flow of 47,000 gallons at 23% capacity. The max flow is 56,000 gallons, and it rains 4.5 inches for the month. And the only issue anywhere is just an on-site lift station. Okay, we're just waiting on parts to be delivered so the contractor can do the job. And just that piping, that old metal pipe that's going.
The pickup tubes for the old galvanized and they corroded, so we put PVC skid plating on it. Questions? All right, good job. Let's see, financials and legislative report. Let's do the legislative reports first. I was telling Jody, and we sent all this to legal, so I'll let counsel. But I decided just to bite one of these off at a time. Because every week they change. The food registration one was the one that I looked at. It starts out pretty complicated, but the bottom line is as low as our permitting is on the food trucks, we're okay. Is that
And I didn't know if you want us to do top now or top at the.
I'll give you forward here just a minute.
Okay, because I've got that on my notes.
All right. And then the second call, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but I'm kind of letting the dust settle before we talk about that. So I'll turn it over to you on the legislature.
Well, there was 850 plus new laws that would affect. I've got 8 on my list here that would affect, I think more importantly for the city council.
Yes.
One, the bidding threshold has moved from 50,000 to 100,000. So if you do 100,000, that going out bid.
Yes.
We're going to need to do an ordinance for you guys to give additional powers to your city court. That they will be able to actually take civil matters on nuisances and things and not necessarily criminal. But y'all will have to do that by ordinance to give them that kind of authority. You are definitely, if you're going to enforce any code, you're going to need to have a licensed code enforcement officer or a certified fire marshal that y'all can't by ordinance say the fire marshal should enforce that. Anybody who has access to any of the computers here has to have cyber security and AI training. That's going to be a requirement. And in 2026, we're going to have to look at the food truck permit situation. That law doesn't go into effect until 2026, so we've got some time to look at it. The meeting notices have gone from 72 hours to 3 business days. I've got a chart here that help them figure out what day the meeting is and what day they need to do that. And if you're going to have a meeting on your budget either has to be attached to the meeting notice or put on to the website at the same time that your meeting is. And finally, by October the 1st, the city's got to give the Attorney General the email and address of the city, so that people will go be able to go to a database and look and see how to make public information requests. Those are the 8 main ones that I say. There's some other ones that has to do with extra territorial jurisdiction that somewhere down the line we may. But these are the 8 things that I was looking at thinking y'all are doing right now. There's some zoning, when we get into that zoning deal, there's some changes in that zoning, but I figured I didn't need to tell y'all about that now until all that happens.
Well, let's just fight this elephant one bite at a time. The ordinance that you talked about, go ahead and do that for us.
Yeah, okay.
And I read about the municipal court having a security plan, and here in a little bit, we're doing the design on extending this building and putting our court in the back. And that's all it is right now, is a design. If we hold court, it'll be in this room right now, but we're still gonna have to have a security plan and develop that. So that's something you need to dig into and advise us on.
But the good part about that, there's some model plans out there that you just have to tweak. The Office of Court Administration did a good job trying to help all the courts when all this came about. They kind of fixed the model plans and here, take this and tweak it. So.
All right, I'll leave that in your report. So,
okay.
We'll talk about it more next meeting. Any questions on any of the new changes? For us, this is a fraction of what I see out there, especially with floods and all the changes.
Yeah, there's some, as the city does things, there's going to be some changes, but I kind of figure those are the changes. As you do them, we will look at them, and then some of them will have engineers that's going to help you with some of the changes, because they have changed a lot.
Yes. Anyway, any questions for Greg? Otherwise, after the meeting, I will sit down and stuff. All right, as far as financials go, the one I pay attention to most is the general fund. We're sitting at 67% of the budget year, and as far as collections, we've got 88% of our funds in. So we're doing real well. Looking at the expenses, you're at 63% of spending what we had budgeted for, so we're way ahead on the money side of it. Sewer fund, just like always, we're 44% of collection, because I sound like a broken record. We're in the service business, we're not in the profit-driven business when we supply service to our customers. So eventually our goal is to have the fees catch up and provide the service that we need to provide and maintain the plant. Right now we're at 44% of the budget. Really it's better than it was last year. We were looking for 67, we're at 44. We have contingency funds in this budget, we have contingency funds in the city general fund, and every year we transfer those funds and we don't go deficit on this account. So Have no fear, we're okay. Expenses are set at 77%. We're looking for 67%, so we're doing better on that. Although you have an old system, infrastructure, and we will be spending money on that from here on out. That's why we have a contingency fund. When I looked at the hotel motel, we're at $737. That's not even close to historical. We pulled out the ordinance, which I've sent the ordinance to legal, and we're gonna look at some of the ones that aren't paying their hotel motel, and we're gonna send them a notice and ask them to please pay it. Go that route. Capital projects, and we're gonna, if you'll notice on the bottom of the front page, you see capital projects. Any of the capital projects that we're fixing to start, we're gonna talk about here in a minute. We've been spending a little bit on planning, but we're not even close to what we had budgeted. And so a lot of this will roll over into next year's budget, and we'll go from there. Investments, they hold just like they were last month. This is one of the things we've written up on. I didn't have enough investment briefings, so we do it every month now. Your funds available that are not within the budget are $2,486,802.32. Y'all been briefed. You're very flush, you're very good. $1,116,471.21 is in a CD, and that is earmarked for capital projects, which we'll be doing over the next 3 years, which leaves a rainy day fund of $1.1 million plus another $250,000 in tax pool. Community center, we finished our drawing. I'm not going to show it again. In public meetings I go to, I'll carry it if people want to see the initial design. We're at the point where probably in next year's budget, we'll go out for engineering and get everything certified and go ahead and get on the register with the state for handicap review and stuff like that. So we have a shelf-ready project when the funding comes through. In a minute, I'll talk about future funding. I've got a $2 million grant for next year for the project, and I got a $5 million for that same project. So maybe one of those will come in and we can take care and get that started. But we'll keep searching. But we do have what the state calls, once I get the engineering done on that, a shovel-ready project that we're ready to go on whenever we locate the funding to do that, and we will. You will not see the next one, the coronavirus fund. We have closed that out. We use that money to subsidize this line here and work on our wet well, and it is zeroed out when we told that today. Is that correct? For free. And that one's under the U.S. Department of Treasury. I think that's who oversees that, and it's a fund. It's not a grant. Here in a minute, we'll talk about the TDBG is block grant, Community Development Block Grant, and it's $500,000. That's the project on Faulkner. And as far as the bid mod, that's this project out here, $631,000. We can talk about that in a minute. And the RCP is the active one. We had a meeting on the phone. That's where we're going to map zoning. We're going to do a floodplain map if we can. And we're going to look at flood mitigation in the downtown area and try to move the water a little bit better. Which brings me down to the fire department. Michelle, you want to talk about that for us a minute?
First, did Amanda tell us what happened with Did Amanda tell us what happened with
Oh, yeah. Amanda did a good report on the community center. I got it. She keeps me in track with, I think
She didn't make it.
$1,000.
She just gave it to me.
I just got it, pass it around. If you have a desire to keep it, you can just keep it. To year to date, we've generated, as far as fees, $4,705. And we'll look at it year by year until we get something going. And like I said, I will run this around the table. Y'all can, the last person that gets it wants to hang on to it, but this will be a fluid document. You'll start getting one of these each, so you can see what's going on in the community as far as the rental that's going on in the existing building. Now, Shay, you're on.
For the month of August, we had 19 emergency calls, 3 structure fires, 3 wildland grass fires, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 5 EMS assist or landing zones. That did include 1 medical call, 1 false alarm, 1 welfare check, and 4 disregards. In-station training, we're still on the coursework to get people certified with their state certifications, which is the TIMS, Firefighter 1, Courage to be Safe, Cancer Awareness, 703, 706 NIMS, Firefighter 2, and Officer 1. Our special training, we had 8 of our members start their emergency medical responder course. They will be complete by the end of this month. And you'll start seeing a spot in our calls for FROs. That is for our first responder organization, and that's strictly medical calls only, where they'll actually be responding as medical, not fire. Upcoming training, we have all members are going to get their Class B exempt training to drive trucks, and emergency driver training course will be added to that. Our county training for the county is communications again this month. The only public relations we did this month is we painted the curbs at the Lincoln Junior High School for the fire lane. Station improvements, the restrooms are now complete. The wash office floor was complete, and new station lighting was put in the meeting room, so now you can see when you walk in there. For the emergency service district update, we continue to work with the ESD to reinstate our suppression agreement. After many meetings and long hours, ESD did vote to reinstate our suppression agreement until the end of the year. We will continue to negotiate the suppression agreement for 2026.
Okay, my comments on that. We stood our ground. They retracted, correct me if I say it was wrong, they retracted the 60-day. That was the first thing I wanted them to do away with. So they did away with all of that. They reinstated your contract, just like you were before the incident spurred everything up.
Yes, sir.
So that's a plus. That moves us a step closer. It's up to you and your corporation to negotiate next year's contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay? While this was going on, if we couldn't do that, I committed that we would be a fire department with a non-suppression agreement, which we needed to stay that way to keep our license up and to keep our corporation. And if that's the way it ends up next year, that's the way it'll be. I think that some of the powers that be on the other side have seen the daylight, and they realize how valuable the volunteers are. So maybe we can all work together and move forward on this.
So the way it will work is the volunteers to do suppression, it's not a suppression contract. They'll sign under the ESD.
Mm-hmm.
The corporation itself is not getting a contract. So if the volunteers want to continue to fight fire, they become ESD volunteers. So that's the difference is, so the corporation will remain and will continue to do our projects, our community outreach, our trainings and everything under the corporation. And then the volunteers will work to volunteer under ESD is how they're wanting to go. So there will be no more budgets coming to the corporation. It will just be us volunteering for them. That's the way it's going to go.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. The most important thing to me is the volunteers on one side, the corporation on the other side. So whatever I need to do to shore up the corporation, we'll do it because they're very important. They're seeking grants for the firehouse and so on and so forth. We did do a review on the electrical. What I found was, the Chico's line coming in weaved through trees, and it was a disaster. Also, the service pole was rotten. Strong wind had blown it down. And then the electrical panel was a nightmare outside. So Chico came in and set a new service pole, which was a lot taller than the one we had, which brought it up a little bit. And then when I had my tree trimmers in, since Chico wouldn't trim the right of way, I went ahead and trimmed it for him. So we're in good shape on getting power to the building and keeping it. Now, I'm gonna let you, did you meet with our contractor on the electrical?
Yes, I met with him and showed him all of the breaker boxes and yeah, he said it's pretty much fire hazard.
Yes, we agree on that. When you gotta use a stick to open it up and pull the breaker,
We
it's
have to
fire.
bang it first.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to bang it first,
All right.
and then pick it up.
So, he's probably somewhere in the corner trying to figure out how to break the news to me, but I know it's gonna be expensive, but if we don't do it, we're gonna lose it, and we may lose the building, so we'll look at it and do what we can do, okay? Any questions for Michelle on that? All right, the new part that I've added, so we're gonna pull out some stuff on the reports up at the top, and they're gonna fall into projects. First one I've got, I wanna mention, we've got about 8 active projects and 1 pending. I'm gonna talk about the pending one here at the end of this, but, community center, we've already talked about it. I'm seeking the funding. We have the design, and the next budget will do the engineering that we need to make that a viable project and go ahead and do the state inspections as far as handicap and have that a shelf-ready project. So when we get the funds, we'll be good to go. And as far as the council, y'all just jump in here if you need more information on any of these topics, okay? TxDOT sidewalks, probably late October, early November, I'll have my yearly meeting with them and see where we got lost. They were supposed to be starting last year, and then we put in 2 more proposals for sidewalks, and we're waiting to hear on those. But the main one coming from the high school down to the interchange by the bank is approved, and they should start construction, and I'll get y'all a date of construction. That's one of my active ones. We talked about the fire building, and we're waiting on the electric. While we're talking about the fire building, I put in 4 multi-million-dollar grants, one of them a $2 million grant for the community center. One of the $5 million grants was for the community center, so we had 2 shots at it. And then I put in for a $5 million grant to renovate the firehouse and build a new firehouse. So those things they will come up every year. I will keep filing for them. I don't expect to get $15 million in grants. If I can get one, okay, otherwise I'll reapply. The $2 million grant comes from our congressman Latrell. He gets leftover funds and he puts it out, and you can put in for him. I've already done that for late 26 is when it's available. And with redistricting, he will leave us, but he will not be leaving us till early 27. So I'm still able to get in for that $2 million. Let's see. Department of Ag. That's the fault project. It's a $500,000 project where we have part of the money went to inspecting some manholes that were leaking, and the rest of it went into putting the actual sewer system in. The bids came in very favorable, where we had $200,000 left on the table. We tried to extend the sewer line, and they had a cap on that of only $40,000. So we opted to working with the Department of Ag, rebidding again for the additional $200,000. What our intentions are is to extend from Mr. Faulkner's old house about 1,100 linear foot more gravity line that will catch the houses on the other side of Faulkner and run that as far as we can with $200,000. We got the Department of Ag to extend the grant for another year, which should give us enough time, if we counted our months right, to get this bid, get it approved by environmental, and get a contractor on board. A straight gravity line, less than 8 foot deep, it should be doable. We're gonna take a shot for it. General land office, that is this project right here. We're bidding that in October, I believe, the mid to late part of October. And if we're successful, we kind of think that the guy that's working on it will come in honestly, and we'll just keep on building a line. We'll see how it goes. That's what we're keeping our fingers crossed. On that other one, we think he's going to bid on this one also. So we'll see how this goes. If this will make the $631,000 go as far. One thing I'm finding out is sort of make up the rules as we go with each of these agencies. Now, if your bid's come in low and you have money on the table, they won't sweep it. And we're arguing about that and coming up with ways where we can still use the money. Bidding another job with that money is one way to do it. So we'll try to, whatever we were given in the grant, we'll try to make sure we spend it and go from there. The other thing is and this is hard to understand, when an engineer and our administration that administers the grant charges a fee, to do that is based on the grant. Now, if the bids come in low, they redo it and base it on what the bid dollar was, which means they take money away from the engineer and money away from the grant administrator, and we sign the contract with the engineer, so we're liable for what comes away. So we're arguing about that, and we will stay in the box and argue until we get some kind of reasonable explanation. I've been told now, they backed up and said, well, we can give you one waiver. Well, what's good as that can do is adapt with the next one and the next one. So we're going to continue to talk. Common sense will kick in eventually, but we're there, and we're sort of testing this on the line of partner right now on the redid idea. At first I said, well, hey, you got $100 worth of no bid, and the new legislation just used $100,000. I said, well, we got $200,000. That's not going to solve the problem. And besides that, I'm taking a position, even though we've got an exemption and we don't have to take bids on $100,000, we're still going to take bids. It just doesn't make sense. We'll still get 3 bids on it, even though it's $100,000 less. And that's what I told the guys, Jody and everybody, we're going that direction. I don't want to get in a habit of not taking bids. Just jumping up and saying, here, you bid $100,000, you got the job. The only way we would use that is in an emergency situation where we don't have time for disaster. And I think that's what it was meant for. I'll get off that soapbox. Anyway, the next one's Parks and Wildlife. We've got the flags out here for the walking trail. Within the next 2 weeks, we're going to paint all of that, and we'll start taking bids and see if we got to and how many trees we have to remove in the middle of the walking trail. And we will go ahead and remove the stump, we won't stump grind it, and get it ready for the electricity, underground electricity. And there is some requirements from the state as far as the compaction of the ground, and we'll get that in first before we do the buildings. You do have a little site plan on the trail. You take a look at it, mark up, we'll talk about it as we go on.
Will we make the playground further back?
I'm moving closer to the sewer. We moved it up.
But it's closer to the parking lot in the back corner, for safety and
Yes.
security.
For security and to save us money on the sewer.
The security would be, here would be, small, like you're walking, it's closer to the parking lot, so I'm walking down to it.
No, we've got a fence around that. She's still gonna be able to see it. If you put it back you're looking at another $20,000 or $30,000 for the water and sewer line.
You move it back a little bit.
I'll put it back in the deal. I mean, that's,
Take a look at it, mark
the
down.
only thing I've had problem with is dogs, okay? I think we're gonna get bicycles, so,
And bicycles.
yeah,
I heard both of them.
but we're gonna, if I can catch them when they're doing it, we'll stop it.
And also the security cameras with,
We will have security cameras throughout the park that we don't have now with this. And that's the reason for, as you come in, there's a little building that he's marked up as mechanic. Okay, the restrooms are gonna be closer to the play area. Okay, but the mechanicals will be right through that gate right there.
You got a future building, more.
The future building is a gazebo, in case we want to do weddings, or in case we want to announce them, at Christmas, if we have a light walking trail, we'll have a gazebo that will work off on. That is a future building. That is not in this plan. The two things that are is the play area, which the first bid came in at $33,000, and the mechanical one that we're gonna need, it's gonna be the control room. So all of those will move around. This is just, you've got the red line, which is the new line, and then you've got the old walking trail, which is the black line. We're gonna lay out the new line here and get a look at how many trees we're talking about, which I don't think there's a lot. All the overhead lighting will not be over the top of the trees, they'll be on the wall.
what about moving it like in this area? An open area? Cause I agree, I mean, like,
I
that's
mean,
the
if
way it's
y'all want to
run.
pay the extra for the sewer and the water.
To be able to see them when you're walking,
You can put it wherever, but just mark this up. And when I bring the real one in, and it'll be up there, we'll make the changes to it. I don't have, originally that's where I had it, and I moved it to cut down. We've got to run a sewer line, we've got to run electricity, and we've got to run, water. There will be a restroom, and the decision you will make, you can have it up here, do you want it a Jack and Jill restroom, or do you want men and women's?
men and women.
All right, we'll make that decision. You just double your price, but it makes no difference.
Yeah,
300,000 will not do what we need to do. So we're gonna spend more than 300,000, and we're gonna use some of that, 250,000 that's sitting there, textbook. When we do this, same as the record retention bill, let's do it the right way and spend a little bit more because we have a little bit more. Y'all look at this and give me your advice, because I've cut this back to try to hold it within the budget. And we're gonna exceed the budget. Once we put those LED warning lights in there, which are pricey, but we'll get the job done where if you wanna walk at night, you'll be able to see. And if we wanna have Christmas lights and Christmas program out there, you'll have the electricity and be able to see. Plus you'll have, like Joey mentioned and reminded me, we have a video of the entire park plan, and a control point on that. Okay? This is just preliminary. Mark it up. I went ahead and hired one of the engineers, Draftsman, to do this for us on an hourly rate to save some money. So as this comes in, you'll start seeing it on the wall, and you can mark it up. We've got plenty of time. But we're gonna go ahead and register with the state on the handicap part of it, so we'll have that number when we start with the trail itself. We know where it's gonna go, we know what we gotta do with that, and we know the infrastructure we have to put in. I'll just move the sewer and the water to the central area where it was originally. All right?
And when did you say that's gonna start?
We're gonna mark the trail next week, and then when we go for bids on removal of whatever trees we mark and the stumps. And then we'll go to bid for the dirt contractor to come in and dig all of that up. When that happens, I'm gonna parking out there, the park stays closed. Okay, everybody agree? All right. Makes my life a lot easier. So this will be a reoccurring thing that you'll see each month, and we'll move it. It's on rate of speed, but we're gonna get started. That's one of the things, I'm talking to parks and all that, I wanna get started on, because I'm gonna put in for another 300,000 for the, or either 500,000, depends, for the baseball court on underground lighting of the fields out there next year. Okay. Here's the news. Did you put me up on there? This is not even a shelf ready, this is a conception. The city hall, I want to expand to put in a municipal court building. That's the way the city hall sits right now. Go ahead and roll up. And this is very short. That's the floor plan, what we're sitting in right now. You can see the here's on the side. Here's where the gray area is the city hall. 30 by 30 extension out the back here is municipal court. Okay? Hold that down just a minute. We have wrestled over this. This back here, we're working on the entrance to the municipal court here. I mentioned that we're gonna have a security plan for that room, according to the new laws. So, this is a conceptual drawing. I'm gonna say that you'll come down the side and you'll have a ramp here and you'll come into the court here, rather than coming in here and coming through this room and going through this door there. These doors will still be here. They'll still be secure, except there'll be glass. You'll be able to see through there. No, we're gonna work that out, but this is where the judge says, and this is where the planning and defended, and we'll probably have some benches here. This is an extension of this break room, which is too small, that we'll have here, and this is the judge's chambers here, with an exit off the back. I've gotten that far. This is a rough draft, so I can get some rough numbers, and this is probably a 2-year project before we touch this one, because we got other ones I want to do, but once again, while we've got all this on the table, if we do 6 shelf-ready projects, no matter who's here, they can pick it up and run with it, okay? And there's probably grant money available for this also. Roll up one more, we got one more, I'm gonna show you that. One thing we did agree to is this here is the front of the building, this here is the side of the building, as it stands. Go ahead, one more. Front of the building. Up one. Oh, that's the side of the building, I'm sorry. This right here is the new part here, coming off the back. It did not have this gable here. What we did is we hooked onto this front gable and we run it all the way across. It keeps the integrity of the building, and rather than hooking here and doing a lean-to over there. It'll be a little bit easier, and it'll look better. This would be where the sidewalk is, and these windows will probably get split if we use windows, and the entry into the courtroom will be in the middle of this deal. We'll have to look at the grade and the handicap part of it and so on and so forth. This is the back side of it over towards the library, and this is what it looks like on the other side. Once again, we stuck windows in here. It remains to be seen where they stay for security purposes. I don't know. We'll wait and let our advisors and our committee, according to the law, we'll have a committee that will advise us on that. Any more? Okay, that's it. That's in a nutshell. You want to roll back and look at something?
The entrance, are they gonna come in this way or the other way? For
No.
security, they have to come in that
Security,
way?
I think, we have a bailiff. They're gonna want that as standalone.
Okay, what about restrooms?
They can go out and come around here, use these restrooms, or, there is a door right there that they can go through the break room and get to it. I'm not too concerned about restrooms.
What you need to be.
Well, they're
No,
there. Now, we will open that
for
up.
security, that's what I was thinking.
Well, this whole building's gonna have to be part of the security plan. Not just that one, but primarily that one to get us past the state law. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the restroom idea, but you also probably want to need to put either a sliding door or something, because you may have to have a place for 6 people to sit to be a juror.
Yes.
And so you could put them into that break room, but you would need to have it.
Well, we can change the whole configuration.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to, once I get the final drawing, we can move the furniture around. And,
I think you done a good job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
well, it
great.
started out only to be about 400, I said that ain't enough.
Yeah.
So we did 30 by 30. I
It
said,
just
"Maybe."
needs a little fine tuning.
Right, but close
Now, we can enlarge it and make it,
and understanding and
we can make the hallway to the restrooms and come into them. They're on this back wall.
Oh, the other side, the back side. We just need to make sure how the security would be with
This is a,
the whole thing. That's all.
well, we got pins, they got push buttons, they can lock this building down in a heartbeat. And we can do the same thing out there. We'll push a button, it'll be like bolted.
Well, most of your courtrooms here in Hennessy County anyway are open and
Yeah,
come and go. I mean, if you just think about the JP1 for it. I mean, you get there from the tax office and the auditor's office or anywhere else, but there is a door that can be closed, you know.
so I envision using those same deadbolts on the entire thing, so
Car can come through.
Yeah, no,
Because I do that. So, I didn't get anyone to say that, but, you know, I didn't want to get it all.
Did it go through?
Yes,
Is that big room?
Yes, it went into it. The car itself did it.
They have drive-through court.
The car did.
They get drive-through court.
Yeah.
They wanted drive-through, but they didn't get it, did they?
As in Mexico, the car did,
Yeah.
just moved on its own.
Yeah, it did, actually, it did.
Got it?
I was in it.
Ladies, y'all, and gentlemen, y'all will have plenty of time to change this. And when I saw the new law on security for municipal courtrooms, I said, well, we'll get started and then we'll run it through the state and see what else we need to do. But we're moving that direction. In the meantime, if we have a hearing for our judge, it'll be in here, okay? So that's something we're working on. The other speedy one that we're doing right now is the record retention building. Once again, I need a certified set of prints because I've got to go to the state. And the ugly head jumped up and said, well, you're gonna have a sprinkler system because of all the paper in the room. So I backed up and once again, I hired a junior engineer on an hourly basis to design our building. We're at a point where we've decided where it's going to go, and we're looking at the elevations, and we're going to work with the concrete guy to see what he thinks as far as feel on where we want to put it. Then we'll go from there. This will be, hopefully next time we'll have a set of prints to look at on it, because this one, along the Parks and Wildlife and the sidewalk, and the other 2 grants that we're fixing to get going is on the front burner. Okay? I want to get, we teetered back and forth on record conversion, and we may have lined up with our own property and we spend some money on dirt work. And it's a multi-purpose building, and meeting Kyle out in the field and looking at it. Any other ladies that want to come and look where we're talking about, just holler at me, I'll meet you out there on the weekend or whatever. Walk with it. We're gonna go ahead and spend the money on this building. Right now, to get the little office for our public works guys and the record retention, and then 2 bays on each side of the 12-foot door that we store our equipment in that we need to, we're looking at probably about $34 a square foot for the building. not including the slab, which we'll get a bid on that, which is not bad. I think it's good, but you can plan on spending about $150,000 on it. And it started out, we were only spending about $40,000 or $50,000. But if we're gonna do it, let's go ahead and do it for the future. If I've got pumps that we pulled out that we're trying to salvage, we got a place to warehouse it. If I got surplus pipe off the job, we got a place to surplus it. Plus we have a place to park our riding mowers and tractor and stuff like that. Eventually, I'll start getting some of the state surplus materials and we'll have some small road repairs. We'll eventually start putting up our own stop signs and stuff like that. We'll get to that point, save some money. So, we do have the money. We need to start spending some of the money to help us serve our constituents or our citizens and the community. Questions on any of those? You're going to see this repeatedly. I hope each time you see them, we'll have new information for you to move and move things around. And then we'll pull the trigger on it. Having said that, keeping to my promise, we're going to jump over on the next page. And we've already had you're comfortable with that. Now we got, and that usually happens to us, Greg, we'll end up knocking this out on front. Our sewer report from Amanda.
Okay, I had 17 adjustments for grease samples, 2 adjustments for deposit refunds, and 1 was a final usage for a fixed account, and I didn't have any cutoffs.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, saves everybody money and us time. On the sewer, and another reason why we're contemplating taking over our permits, which we'll talk about in a minute. We've had one that just slipped through and put in a restaurant down next to Frank's, ready to open. No grease trap, as far as I know. Maybe not a health license, as far as I know. Maybe not an inspection on. That's the reason for plans, is they gotta go to the state, gotta come back, and all this has to be done. And, I got alerted by the permit office that, hey, something's going on down there, and all they did was come in here and want a fire code, and then they didn't buy it. And now they're gonna open it. So I called, I sent a code enforcement, not personnel, down there. And they got out, shook hands and said, hey, you know, what's going on? They explained. They've been to the permit office, just failed to get a permit. So, Saturday, the guy called me, wanted me to come eat lunch with him. I said, no, you know, you might not want the guy that's going to take a look at your operation and tell you where you're short to come eat lunch with you. But anyway, he texted me today and I'll meet with him later this week and we'll get this on the road to correction. And I'll probably advise him not to open until he gets their price up. I will get in touch with the health department inspector that works this area and we'll become acquainted with each other. And she's real good at what she does. And then as soon as we appoint a fire marshal where I can shift a lot of this to, we'll get that going. So I'll stop at that on the sewer part of it, old business. We don't have any briefing over the permitting and the sewer and the development, mapping, all of that is comes involved with us taking on our own permitting and comes involved with the RCP that we're working on with the General Land Office, which has to do with mapping, has to do with marking all of our sewer lines, what we have it all on the cell phone where you can look and tell where they are and how deep they are. We've already discussed on the phone the other day about the floodplain. We are not mapped for 100-year floodplain. Now, he did give me an alternative we can look at. I looked at it, it's got one little tiny area. I know there's some low areas that we got either through ordinance or something. When we take over the permit and get that identified to let the people know, hey, you're building that, you're putting that trailer in the sinkhole. It'll wash away, by golly, it washed away. So we'll tackle that when we get to that. That's something we'll have to look at. And I'm thinking, and I'll talk to the GLO engineer. The mapping stopped at Liberty County, didn't come all the way far enough. And then, of course, we always thought everything in the city of Coldspring was not in the floodplain, but that's not the truth. Some of it is. So we need all of that marked, especially when people nowadays start buying ravines to build that nice little home they want to build it in. It's on the side of the cliff. They need to know what the elevations they should be, as far as the living areas they should be building at. So we'll continue to wrestle with that. That's part of the RCP grant study that we're doing. We'll talk more about permitting. Right now, I'm working with Trish at the permit office, and she's pretty much handling it, and I'm doing the inspections for her, as far as seeing what's going on out there. And we may keep that on for a while until we get more information from GLO on any ordinances we may need to do as it relates to the floodplain. Any questions on A? All right, discussion of possible action on with resolution 2025-5. It's for closing highway for the county fair. It's the same boilerplate in the right resolution that you have. Take a look at it. They have applied the insurance that's necessary. Is that correct, Jody?
Yes, sir.
They've supplied the route and they've communicated with, I hope, with the fire department, with the EMS, sheriff department, and we're good to go for the
Text office.
Okay. Motion to adopt.
That's second.
All right, we're adopting the resolution 2025-5. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, Jody, get with me after that. Briefing on city ordinance 90-2 hotel occupancy. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at this very close. I didn't realize it. Dated myself in 1990. I signed that. I don't know who the attorney was who drew it up, but there's plenty. Did you get a copy of that?
No, I've got a copy.
We need to both look at it, and then we'll talk more about the ones that I know that have refused to collect as a tax, what we need to do. There's one that has offered to meet with me, and I will meet with them and try to convince them that they need to go ahead and clear this up, because it gets pretty expensive if they don't.
Have they also been doing their state tax? You know?
I don't know. I don't know. They refused to take the certified mail, but they took a phone call from me, so we got a meeting here in this.
There's those tax reports online.
Well, we'll take a look at it online before I go to that meeting. Okay. And then next month we'll take a chance to refresh yourself with it. I think council has a copy of it. You probably have a fresh copy of it. It's a 1990 ordinance put up. I don't think we need, unless you advise us, we need to amend it or change it.
Well, I will go back and look at it. But I got the ordinance book, so I've got it.
All right. It's 90-2, the one you're after. All right, any questions on that? We're going to proceed on that and see if we can't shore that fund up, because at the end of the year, I'm going to ask y'all for ordinance to move those funds into special line item for tourism, to support tourism, and we'll start administering the spending of those funds and make sure every dollar goes towards tourism. And we'll get that done for next year. No other questions on that. Discussion of possible action on Part 1, guns and hoses, slow pitch. It's an event on October 4th, which is coming up. The assistant district attorney came over and met with me. We wanted to know how much we charge for them to use the ballpark. I said nothing. But you need to tell me which park you want to use, He said, we might want to try to run 2 games. I said, well, you got a couple of them out there, and I'll get back with him. I said, do you need to use the concession stand? I know you're gonna need to use the restrooms, or you're gonna chalk the fields, or we're gonna chalk them for you. Since Barty told me that I had a specialist that knew how to run foul line. But anyway, I'll get with him, find out which fields we need.
Okay, I told him not on the right.
Yeah, we're not going with the old high school field,
Okay.
only the good ones.
And I think he's under the impression we're gonna chop it and do all that,
We can do that.
right?
I've chalked them before.
Okay. And
It might go this way.
And they were gonna find out about using the concession, maybe not, but of course the restrooms are definitely.
So you're staying on top of that?
Well, I kinda, yeah.
Good, good. All right. Anyway, I'll reach out to them, get our punch list. You reach out to them, get your punch list, we'll compare them.
Do we need a vote or make action on that?
Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, I'd like for y'all to vote if it's okay for them.
We all look.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Good.
All right.
That would be easy.
No executive session, as usual, we will not, so we'll have to, the next council meeting is on October the 6th, and motion to adjourn. All in favor?
I second.
I'll make it right.
Okay. Timekeeper said 7 p.m. Thanks for coming. This is a regular call meeting, September the 8th, 7 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Jessica Sewell.
Jennifer Manuel.
Diane Burkett.
Nicole Gatewood.
Kyle Curry.
All present and accounted for. Public comment, Joe?
No, sir.
Except me. I got a call on the way up over here, the electrical company that was putting in the tower is having another hearing in Austin. The landowners in San Jacinto County, the organization we work with, and contesting it coming close to the city of Coldspring, will attend the meeting, and we've already gave them testimony, written testimony. So I asked Ms. McMurray to have them read that again if they need to hear before we think about it. So this is another meeting about the route. All right, no other comments, motion to adopt the agenda,
Make a motion to adopt.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Had a chance to look at the minutes for August the 4th.
Good to me. I didn't see anything missing.
Is that a motion?
I make a motion. I second.
I made the motion.
Second over here, and all in favor?
Aye.
Bills to be paid. I think you've got a couple of new ones there. One, I think it's deals with the sewer plant, the other one's on grass, and we're getting closer to buying our own lawnmower and going on grass.
Yeah. Okay. I make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll say.
Got any questions?
No
Call.
questions.
How many for? Everybody?
Aye.
All right, carried. Reports. Josh, you want to tell us about the wastewater treatment plant?
So the average flow was 47,000 gallons at 23% capacity. The max flow was 56,000 gallons, and it rained 4.5 inches for the month. And the only issue anywhere is just an on-site lift station. And we're just waiting on parts to be delivered so the contractor can do the job. And it's just that piping, that old metal
Pickup.
pipe that's failing.
Yeah, the pickup tubes for the old galvanized and they corroded, so we put PVC schedule 80 on
That's
it.
it.
Questions?
Everything
All
else
right.
looks good.
Good job. Let's see, financials and legislative report. Let's do the legislative reports first. I was telling Jody, and we sent all this to legal, so I'll let council. But I decided just to bite one of these off at a time. Because every time I read them, they change. And the food registration one was the one that I looked at.